Hi guys, I think we are live now. You can see me, and if you can hear us, please do message in the chat that you can hear us. Then we'll start today's session. Hi Devansh, how are you?
Please like the stream. Video is preparing. There's no any thinking to catch that you have all of those questions. I audio not coming. I we just I think one of us can wait and the other can wait. Yeah. I can is it clearer now? Hi. Audio issue still? Okay. Can you hear us clearly, guys? Just let us know if the audio is better now. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, we just kept it on the table. So, okay. So, I hope you can hear us clearly. Good to see a lot of people are have joined us. Okay. Okay, Phoenix asked how to increase VARCRCs. See, basically, Phoenix last like what I suggest is at least tomorrow, rest your mind. Go in with a clear frame of in the actual VARC section, as much as possible, do active reading, that is, read and write down the main point quickly. Write down the main point quickly so that you have a very quick and impactful read. Then you can go on to solve the question.
Even if you don't write it down, it's an important point of the first passage. You read a passage, then
Okay. Yeah, हम हिंदी बोल सकते हैं. Both of us are like fairly this is Hindi, but Hindi is definitely not our first language, so we are not that comfortable. But मैं हिंदी ठीक से बोल सकती हूँ. Maruti also can speak in Hindi.
guys, we have I think around. Please do like the stream. I want to get to at least 300. Stream is over.
There's some voice cutting or voice lag issue. I think. Yeah, is the voice fine or is it like okay when Maruti Sir speaks? Okay, voice is like I think we should just hold it in middle. I'll just hold it. You can speak.
I think I'll hold it. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's just because of like
we have only one
mic. We are sharing a mic, so that's the reason. Sorry for that. Okay, so yeah, be able to solve 8 to 9 questions and improve. Kanjan, I think that tomorrow just basically take rest right now because tomorrow I don't want you to spend a lot of time solving because I think tomorrow should be mostly a rest day. What you can focus on right now is just try to focus on revising all the formulas. So whenever a direct formula or a concept-based question comes, then you should definitely be able to solve it. So tomorrow what I would suggest all students to do is basically revise formulas, see the revision videos. For quant, it is very simple, revise formulas, revise theorems, revise concepts. For DILR, just take a look again at the representation formats for each of the type of DILR set, know exactly how to represent. You know that, okay, if it's roots and networks, the two types of representation are either drawing the node diagram or writing down a table. So you should have it very clear in your mind exactly what is the representation format for each type of set. So that is the thing that you should revise for DILR. For VARC, there's no revision as such, but you should basically just keep like the basic pointers in your mind as to like doing active reading, the common tools that you should keep in mind when you have to solve PJs and OOC parajumbles, etc. So basically just keep that in mind.
When somebody is asking that they're able to answer only 8 to 9 questions, I think one of the things that you should keep in mind is you shouldn't miss out on any easy questions which might come towards the end of the paper. So if you are able to read all the questions in quant, then you will definitely at least answer all the easy questions. So one of the mistakes that people often make is that they don't keep track of the time when they're answering a question. Sometimes a question seems interesting and they get stuck into it and they waste around 6-7 minutes. in one question, and then they start panicking if the time is going down. Overall, they'll essentially end up by looking at say 14-15 questions, out of which they answer 8 questions. That shouldn't happen. If you look at all the questions, then you'll at least find some questions which are fairly easy to solve. So at least get all the easy questions correct, and after that you can try to focus on taking on the medium type questions.
One question we have from Ayush. This happens to a lot of people. If you get stuck in the first set, like suppose you are taking, he's saying 20 minutes for the first set, but suppose you're 10 minutes in and you are kind of stuck with the what to do. Should you go on and leave the set and move to other sets, or should you stick? I would suggest stick it out. Basically, you should try to at least get the bare minimum is 2 sets. So even if you are at the 10-minute mark, take a break, concentrate again, and because you have spent so much time, you already are familiar with the set, you will be able to crack it. Unless it is like a impossibly difficult set, I don't think you should ditch it. Mostly when you start the set also in 2-3 minutes, you know whether or not this set is going to get solved. If you realize that this set can get solved, if you are 10 minutes in, 12 minutes in, don't ditch at that point. Because then that is basically what happens to a lot of students. They go and spend 15 minutes on a set, leave that set, go and spend another 10 minutes on another set, leave that. Then they are in a full panic mode where they are not able to solve. Get that first set in, even if it is at 20 minutes, get that first set, because you will now at least have one set in the bag if it's a 6-question set. Then you can try to fit another 2 sets in the remaining 20 minutes. It will be still difficult, but what you can do is do one more 6-question or one more 4-question set and try to solve one of the individual questions from one of the other sets. Some sets are such that you solve each question individually. So you can try to do 1 or 2 questions from a set like that. Okay.
One of the things I would tell you in addition to what she said is that before you actually attempt a set, once the LRDA section comes, spend the first 2 minutes in going through all the sets. This is something that I always mention in my streams, and I think this is very important, so I'm going to reiterate this. One of the things, especially if you feel that you have done well in verbal, or even if you feel that you haven't done very poorly in verbal, I would recommend you to switch off in the last couple of minutes of verbal section so that your mind is more attuned to LRDA section. LRDA is in many cases a make or break section, because sometimes things can go very wrong. So the last 2 minutes of verbal section, try to switch off, try to answer easy questions like say para jumbles or para summaries, which is not an intense question, where you can not be 100% focused, and even then you can make a decent attempt at these verbal questions. Then once the LRDI section starts, spend the first couple of minutes in trying to identify what is the order in which you are going to attempt each of the 4 sets. Go through each of the 4 sets, spend around 30 seconds in understanding what is the type of set it is. And once you understand what type of set it is, also look at the first 2-3 questions. Once you look at the first 2-3 questions, you will be able to figure out whether there are multiple cases that are involved in this set, or whether it is a set which can be completely solved if you actually go through the instructions. I would always recommend you to pick the sets where once you solve the set, you can answer all the questions. Those are the kind of sets I would recommend you to attempt first. Now, once you have this priority order in mind, once you have a good idea about what the 4 sets are about, even if you get stuck in a set, you will not panic as much, because you know that, okay, this set I got stuck, but I know that there is another set which is not very difficult. So I'll try to push my way through this, and after that I'll get one more set. You'll at least have that confidence if you have the information about all the 4 sets before you actually attempt any set. This is something that you should keep at the back of your mind.
One question Phoenix has asked that VRC score 24, I attempt 2 RCs and VA questions. Should I attempt more? See, 2 RCs you will be kind of at the cutoff. 2 RCs plus VA. Basically, the issue with that is that VA accuracy kind of fluctuates quite a bit. RC accuracy is kind of safer. So on the safer side, I generally ask people to attempt at least 3 RC sets just to be safer. But if your VA is exceptionally good, if your VA, like you're getting para jumbles always right, if you're getting OC para jumbles always right and para summary always right, then it is an okay combination. But generally that is not the case. So that's why I always say that do 3 RCs and then VA. If you are much better at VA than RCs, then definitely finish your VA before you try your 3rd RC as such. But if that is not the case, try to get the 3rd RC in.
Guys, we have close to 300 people who are watching us stream live. Please do like the stream. Like I mentioned, I want to get to at least 300 likes before the stream ends. Let me look at another question that somebody has asked. Ambrish Agarwal is saying, sir, while reading passages, few people whisper while reading and that disturbs a lot. Shall I ask the invigilator in such situation? This happened to me last year also. It affected my papers. Please help. in general, what I try to do is, even if it is annoying, even if I feel that somebody is whispering and it is irritating me, I feel that if I escalate the situation, this is personally my opinion. If I'm in your situation and if I escalate it, if I complain to the invigilator, I lose more focus. I will not be able to again get back into my zone. So I would try to avoid it. I would try to not think about that person and give my best. Because once you escalate it, once you call the invigilator, once you talk to the invigilator, you will your game itself will be off. For you to again come back and focus on the paper, you will be losing 3-4 minutes. Probably that is not worth it. So that is something that you should keep at the back of your mind. That is how I would deal with that situation.
A lot of two questions basically about the pressure and how to remain calm and how to replicate the scores that you have gotten in mocks under pressure also. See, basically, guys, you have to deal with the pressure that is going to come in. Try to think of it as any other mock day as such. So basically, when we say that, okay, replicate the exam pressure, think of giving every mock as you would actually give the exam. The point is that you should know that that pressure is coming for you, and you have to basically stay calm and stay. The thing is that you should then think that everybody in that particular exam hall is going to feel pressure. All of the students there are going to feel pressure. The test also, like apart from your verbal skill, apart from your quant skill, apart from your logical reasoning skill, the fourth skill that is being tested is your ability to handle your nerves. So basically think that, okay, I will be able to handle my nerves. I will be better at it than my peers. If you go in with that positive attitude, saying that if you consider all the peers, I'm much more mature and able to handle my nerves. If you go in with that positive attitude, you will just think of it as a competitive advantage rather than something that you are going to mess up. If you think negatively that I'm going to actually get like the nerves are going to get the better of me, if you go in with that negative headspace, then it will eventually affect you. But if you go in with the positive headspace, saying that I am better at handling my nerves than many of my peers, I will do better than my peers, then you will go in with the positive headspace and you will do better in handling your nerves as such.
Somebody asked, what is the ideal way to spend the day tomorrow? I'll tell you some of the things that you shouldn't do so that you can figure out what are the things that you would want to do. I would recommend you to not take a mock or take a sectional tomorrow. It is not going to help you quite a lot. I would recommend you to not go out tomorrow. Go out as in don't go obviously partying or even to a restaurant. Probably because I don't want you to eat outside food. It might affect your stomach. That's not a good thing. I would recommend you to not do any intense physical exercise. Don't go on a long run. Don't because you might fall sick if you do intense physical exercise. Don't do that. Don't go out in the cold. Winter has set in in some of the cities, so don't try to go out in the evenings. Some of the things that I would recommend you to do is probably you can go for a long walk. You can maybe swim. You can do simple exercises which will ensure that you're not falling sick. Try to stay calm. Try to do things which will ease your nerves. Maybe you can hang out with your relatives. Maybe you can hang out with your parents. Maybe you can watch a movie if it is coming on the TV. Those are the kind of things that you should do. If you are looking to revise, the best revision videos are there on our Kraku YouTube channel. There are 4 videos that I would really recommend you to watch them. There are 2 videos on quant. One of them is 2 hours long and another one is I think 1.5 hour long. It covers the entire syllabus of quant. You can watch it at 1.5 times the speed, so you can finish the entire 3-hour video in around 2 hours, and you will really feel more confident. You feel that, okay, I've covered the entire syllabus once. Whatever question is coming, if it is an easy question from any topic, I will be definitely able to get it correct. You will end up with that kind of a confidence if you revise both of those videos. In addition to that, we also have one complete revision video for LRDI and one complete revision video for VRC. You can definitely check them out. These are things that I would recommend you to do because this is not intensive. You're not solving a mock. It is a low stress thing. You're passively learning these by watching the videos. So those are the kind of things I would recommend you to do.
The questions that has come in, like one of the firstly, thank you Naseeb, who said that you benefited from our daily targets and batch schedule, and best of luck for your preparation. Good to know that many of you have completed the entire batch schedule and all the daily targets. Very well done. One more question came, that what is our slot? So both of us are in slot 3. One of the questions that was asked, that should I spend the day revising if I'm in slot 3? I would very advise against it. Definitely don't do that, because by the end of, like, if you're at 4 o'clock, 4 to 6, you're not mostly at your like peak performance by default. If you consider your normal work day, by 4 to 6, you're kind of winding down your work day. You're not in like you're not 100% focused. You're not fully, you're kind of tired. So make sure you put in extra effort to make sure that you're not tired by the third slot as such. So as much as possible, rest during early part of the day Don't stress yourself out because even stress kind of eats up your energy. So try to keep your attention diverted. Do things that you like. Go for a walk. Go basically try to free your mind up as much as possible so that your mental energy is conserved till that 4 to 6 slot. One more thing that I would actually tell you from experience is last year I had, I think, second slot. And one thing that I learned from experience is that I went in I ate my lunch just in the car and went in directly to the slot. That is something that I've learned is not to do. Try to put in half an hour gap between your lunch and going into the slot, because essentially you're going to go in and your mental energy is going to wane if you go in just after your lunch. So try to keep yourself mentally agile as much as possible. Eat properly, definitely, but make sure that you're not tired out, nor you have just eaten a full lunch and kind of sleepy as such. So just make sure that you are at like the you're peaking at that particular slot of time as such.
Somebody asked, if my DILR section doesn't go well in the examination, how to not succumb to the pressure. Sometimes I even screw up my quant section because of this, how to turn around the situation. I'll give you an example of one content manager who used to work with us. So for people who don't know, we hire people who have taken CAT and who have done well in CAT every year, because they help us in answering doubts. They help us in ensuring that our material is up to date and it is very good. So one of these content managers was a fairly smart guy. He worked with us for around a year. He took CAT. And in the CAT, he is a fairly smart fellow. He does very well in quant and LRDA. He is okay. He used to be okay in verbal. So he did his verbal section. It went okay. He had pinned his hopes on LRDA and quant, but LRDA, he struggled quite a lot. He didn't do well. He attempted, I think, only around 13 questions. In those times, I think this was probably, I think this was a 3-hour mock. So I think there were around 34 questions or 32 questions at that time. So out of those 32 questions, he attempted only 13 questions in LRDA. And then quant section came, but he was a tough guy. He felt that, okay, I'm going to give my best. And in quant, he completely aced it. Now, once the paper was out, he came and he told me on the day that, okay, I've done well in quant and verbal, but LRDA, I won't clear the cutoff. But as luck would have it, he got all the 13 questions correct in LRDA. He managed to clear the cutoff. And finally, he ended up at IIM Calcutta. So this is something that you should keep at the back of your mind. Because even if you feel that you have done very poorly, nobody really knows what the relative difficulty level of LRDA is, or for that matter, any section is, until you come out of the examination hall. So even if you feel that you have done very poorly, it doesn't mean that you should give up, because maybe it is very difficult for everyone. Who knows? So try to give your best even in quant, and that way is the only way you can actually improve yourself.
Advice for slot 1, basically make sure that you wake up early or fully awake. Don't stress yourself out. And one more thing, for those who are going in slot 1, there's also an advantage. Because in slot 1, generally you have not seen other slots, videos or whatever, and you're kind of going with a fresh mind without any kind of preconceived notions. A lot of times, earlier slots analysis comes out, okay, DILR was tough or math, quant was tough, and that already affects you even if your slot is not the same as such. So always remember that do not be affected by these kind of preconceived notions. If you are in slot 1, you're actually lucky because you will not be affected by all of that. Consider that in whether it's slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, basically just focus on that particular slot and try to peak in those 2 hours. You should not look at any other slot on that particular day. On that day, no other slot exists for you essentially. So just focus on your slot as such.
Okay guys, I just have one question for you. How many of you have actually watched the 100 important question video that we uploaded on YouTube a couple of weeks ago? We uploaded 2 very important and very useful videos. One is about 100 most important quant questions, and another one is 25 LRDI sets. How many of you have actually watched it, and did you find it useful? Please do let us know. And guys, we have only around 200 likes. We have close to 400 people who are watching the stream live. Please do like the stream, because I want to at least get to around 400 likes before the stream ends. Let me look at some of the other questions.
One of the questions was asked that somebody said that I'm good with DLR and quant but not confident in verbal. Back yourself up. Basically, if you're a smart guy and you're doing well in quant and doing well in DLR, you do have the basic comprehension skills to do well in verbal. A lot of there are implicit people have notions that, okay, my vocabulary isn't good, or I'm from a vernacular medium, so I can't possibly do well in like VARC. But that is not the case. Even from vernacular mediums, students are able to cross like 96 percentile, 98 percentile, 99 percentile. Not about your vocabulary. Back yourself up. You will do well in VARC section also. So trust yourself. If you're doing well in DILR and Quant, if you're a smart guy, you will do well in VARC also.
Prem Patel is saying, amazing effort by Team Krakow with the LRD and Quant videos. Thanks a lot. Akash Asthana is saying, that video was a real gem, but I could watch only half of it. Should I finish it today? I would recommend you to not stay up late. That is not advised. Try to sleep by around 10:30, 11. If you can watch a few more questions, then it is all the better. You also have tomorrow. So tomorrow, like I was mentioning, I don't want you to take any mock or any sectional. Just watch these kind of videos, which are slightly passive learning. Normally, we don't encourage passive learning. Normally, we'll recommend you to learn while you practice. Normally, I would have advised you to solve questions on your own, take mocks on your own. But because tomorrow is the last day, I don't want you to get stressed out or feel very tired. So do passive learning tomorrow. So watch revision videos, watch videos like this, 100 quant questions or 25 LRD asset questions. Those are the things that I would recommend you to do tomorrow.
Is asking what is the ideal attempt. You have asked a few times. The thing is that we can't really answer that what is an ideal attempt, because that depends entirely on the difficulty of the section. So for example, I'll tell you that between different slots there can be an adjustment of plus or minus 10 marks also. So there isn't any such thing as an ideal attempt. Basically think of it in this way, that you have to solve like 3 RCs or 2 RCs plus the entire VA at the bare minimum. You have to solve 2 to 3 DILR sets and as much as possible of quant. Try to hit at least 15 or 16 in quant. Do not aim for the minimum. Try to do or push yourself to solve as many questions as possible.
Okay, Devesh is asking how to stop overthinking in the last 1-2 days. Normally, I'll always tell you one thing. This is true at any point of time. When you're targeting something, like in this particular case, when you're targeting CAT, before you do anything, ask yourself one thing, that is this going to help me improve my performance in CAT, or is it going to hurt my performance in CAT? If you objectively assess everything like that, then you will figure out that if you overthink, it is hurting you. So you should tell yourself that if I'm overthinking these things, it is not helping me. Many of my competitors are also facing the same pressure, or also have prepared similar amount as me. They're also going to take the examination. They're also stressed out. Now, if some guy in your competitor is able to handle his nerves better, he's going to perform better, or she's going to perform better. Now, you should try to be in that situation. So you should tell yourself that by overthinking, I'm actually not going to help myself. I'm only hurting my chances. So I should not overthink. If you're feeling that you're overthinking, just go for a walk, do something else which will distract your mind. Go on a drive, or just pick up a phone and call somebody that you know. Do anything else to distract your mind.
The question that was being asked is, slot 3 generally made up of repeaters, is it tougher? That's just confirmation bias. You talk to 5 people, you find out they're all repeaters and you feel that they are all good students, and then slot 3 will be tougher. That is basically 5 people out of like the 70,000 that are going to be in that slot. So don't make yourself increase the difficulty of the slot just based on the 5 or 10 people. Don't actually think about that. Each of these are assigned randomly, and more or less the changes will be on the difficulty of the paper rather than any particular slot having greater competition. So I'm sure there will be many people in slot 1 also. There will be many people in slot 2 also. So it's not that slot 3 will be repeated of that sort. Don't worry, don't focus on that. Just focus on your particular attempt, on your preparation. What others are doing. If you keep thinking about that, it is not very productive. It's not productive use of your time, and it will not help you also.
Somebody said that after they solve reading comprehension, they feel very tired and they are not able to perform well in the verbal ability part of the section. So how to face it? Normally, I would recommend you to figure out a few strategies while taking mocks, but because we don't have time for that, I'll tell you my strategy to overcome that problem. Because verbal section is the first section, the first thing I try to do is, because I want to keep my mind fresh, I don't want it to be tired, I would reach the examination center slightly early, so that there is no pressure on me and my brain is not thinking about whether I'll reach early or reach late. So once I go there and once the verbal section starts, my brain is very fresh, so I'm able to concentrate better, and I try to finish 2 RCs. Once I'm done with 2 RCs, then I attempt a few verbal questions, because verbal in my opinion is less intensive. I can concentrate lesser and still maintain decent amount of accuracy. And after answering a few verbal questions, I'll come back and solve the third RC. Once I solve the third RC, I again go back, attempt maybe 1 or 2 verbal questions. I come back and then I try to attempt the fourth RC. By this time, my brain is very tired, so my accuracy in the fourth RC is not really high. And I'll still have 2-3 verbal questions left. Typically, I'll have around 4-5 minutes left. And these questions, because I'm tired and because I'm looking forward to the LRDA section, again, the last part of verbal questions, I will not probably do very well. But I think that is okay. This is basically what I do. I initially try to get 2 RCs out of the way when my brain is fresh. Then I attempt some verbal questions. Then I come back to the third RC, by which time I'm fairly tired. At least my brain is fairly tired. And towards the end of it, I try to get as much as I can.
Questions that is being asked is that should we be a slot and I would say don't do that, because essentially if you find out that okay, the slot was more difficult than expected, you'll go in with the preconceived notion that okay, the slots are more difficult. Not be the case with your slot. So always remember, you will be indexed to your particular slot, your slot level, your slot difficulty level. The amount adjusting up and down can be massive also. So just forget that other slots exist, because you have to essentially outperform only against your slot. The slot 1 and slot 2 guys, you don't have to outperform them, because you will be indexed against only those who are there in your slot. So don't worry about what happens in slot 1, what happens in slot 2. You have to just focus on your slot.
Somebody is asking how many questions to attempt and which questions to quit for sure. It depends on the type of question. Unfortunately, I can't give you one very clear some flow chart which will tell you this is a question you should attempt and this is a question you shouldn't attempt. But typically it varies from section to section. In reading comprehension, I'll attempt the RCs if the topic interests me. There are certain topics that interest me, like say politics or sports or some types of science and technology. So those are the kind of RCs I would attempt first, because I can concentrate better. My brain will be more focused. I will not zone out. If I'm attempting a passage which I'm not really interested in, then I can zone out after the first 1-2 paragraphs. So that is how I select the RCs. LRDIs on the other hand, I think I already mentioned. LRDIs, I try to figure out what is the type of LRDI and whether that LRDI has multiple variations or only one variation. This I can figure out by looking at some of the questions, and based on that, I make my choice. In quant, I try to attempt all the quant questions, and if I get stuck in any quant question after the first 1.5 minutes, if I feel that it is going to take me another 3-4 minutes to solve this quant question, I'll leave it and I'll go to the next question. Because in quant, unlike in verbal or LRDI, even if you leave a question, after you go through all the questions, in many cases, you'll actually have the time to come back and attempt the questions you have left out. And sometimes it works out because subconsciously your brain will be thinking about that question. And once you come back to this quant question, you'll be able to figure out the way in which you can attempt this quant question very easily the second time around. So that is something that you should do.
One of the questions that was asked, basically somebody asked where to find the revision videos. All revision videos are there on our YouTube channel. If you just go to our channel, or in YouTube search Kraku revision videos, you'll find a 2-part quant revision videos, DLR revision videos, and verbal revision videos. As much as possible, try to go through them just to make sure that there isn't any concept or any formula that you don't know or you haven't revised. Just to go through the entire checklist of all the concepts and to ensure complete concept and formula coverage. One more question that was asked was that basically somebody asked that their slot is basically when they are not at their peak or they are at a slump. One thing that you have to remember is that you will have some help during the exam, which is going to come in through adrenaline. So when you actually sit down to give your mock or to give your CAT, you will actually, your heart will be pumping, you will be like raring to go. You will have a lot of adrenaline. Now you have to make sure that that adrenaline lasts the entire 2 hours. So basically people can go in, start off very hard, go in very hard and try to max out their energy in the VARC section, and by the DILR section they are completely maxed out, and in the quant section they actually face a proper slump. Whether you actually have a slump in that time or not, you feel kind of exhausted. So the ideal thing to do would be basically try to make sure that you conserve some energy for the quant section. Think that okay, after every verbal section I will try to keep 1 minute at the very end of verbal section just to take a breathing break, that I can focus on the DILR section. In DILR section, you might not get that time, but basically think that at the end of DILR section and before the start of quant section, I should try to refocus, try to take a break, so that I'm not I'm not at the end of my energy levels at the quant section. If you are able to sustain your energy in quant section, that will be the difference between having an average CAT versus a very good CAT as such.
Okay, somebody said, what is the internal monologue when you're sitting at your terminal 1 hour before the exam starts? I don't try to get myself worked up, because I feel that if I'm either too excited or too deliberately trying to focus a lot, then my performance will struggle. So what I try to do when I sit at the terminal is just try to calm myself down, not worry too much about the examination, because I've taken mocks, sufficient number of mocks, so I know my strategy. I know what are the RCs that I'll attempt first. I'm under control, so I essentially try not to get too excited or too nervous or too happy. None of those things should be there. I will just try to keep my mind as calm as possible, and once the slot comes, I hope that I'll be able to start off well, because getting a good start is very, very important.
One of the questions that was asked was by Shivansh that he got 96.8 in Krakow free. That what should he expect in the actual CAT attempt? See, remember that people who actually take mocks and practice and study well, generally there are a lot of students who go in without any practice, without any. So what you get in mocks or in percentile in mocks generally would be a slightly lower estimate than what you will actually get in CAT. Having said that, you should not go in with overconfidence also. So basically you should think that, okay, I can do better than 96.8, but it depends on how I do on that actual day. So go in with the confidence that you can do better, but also that you have to work for it.
Joydeep is saying, what are the previous papers to practice in these last 2 days? If you have not taken CAT 2021, that is the best thing for you. Definitely look at the slot 1, slot 2, slot 3 of CAT 2021. If you have taken CAT last year, then go and check out CAT 2020. So CAT 2020 and CAT 2021, those are the previous papers that you should try to focus on in these last couple of days.
Asking that they need our blessings as such. So all our best wishes and blessings are with all Krakow students, and we really want to see all of you do really, really well. It's in your hands. You have put in the effort for the entire year, so you have to just go and do the last mile, and I hope all of you have the confidence, you back yourself up, and you do really, really well in that last mile as such.
They are saying, I feel I'll forget the concepts on the D-Day and won't be able to recall the approach to solve questions. Is this just anxiety? You know what happened to Karna, right, in Mahabharata? Don't be like Karna, be like Arjun. Just have confidence in yourself. You will be able to remember all the things because you have put in the effort. It won't happen that you'll forget everything. That happens only in our epics. So don't worry about all of those things. Just focus and believe in yourself and try to keep calm. If you are calm, then you'll be able to answer the questions. Okay, guys, we'll see.
One last this. So we are also attempting the CAT this year. We are in slot 3. So we'll take one last this. Basically, somebody is asking that I get confused with options. How to overcome that? Manav, don't second guess yourself. You know, at some level you have understood the RC, you have understood the message of the RC. You understand that, okay, one of these options sounds right, sounds correct. Other sounds nearly correct. So basically back yourself up, back your understanding up. And that is extremely important in VARC as such. Confidence plays a huge role in VARC, in DILR. You have that confidence, you feel that, okay, I can tackle this DILR set, you actually go through it. At many times, a lot of students take a look at the DILR set and feel that, no, I can't possibly do this. They go through many of the DILR set feeling very underconfident. Don't do that. Back yourself up. It's very, very important to say that I have worked my entire year. 1 year I have slogged and I'm going to carry it on the last day. So back yourself up. Be fully confident. Know that you can actually do this. Okay. So best of luck to all of you guys. Both of us, blessings and best wishes from both of us. And we are very sure that you guys are going to do extremely well on the CAT day. So best of luck to everyone.
So with respect to how to finalize, once you have shortlisted 2 options, how do you pick the correct option? There was actually a trick that Sayali herself has mentioned in the verbal revision videos. Like one of the videos that I was telling you about, the revision videos. In the verbal revision video, Sayali mentioned a trick wherein once you are able to finalize the 2 options, look at the difference between the 2 options. Both the options look similar to each other, but you will figure out, if you try to figure out the difference between both of them, you will understand that there will be some small differences. For example, if it is given in the passage that there is a student like say Ajay who is one of the toppers, or it is given that Ajay is a very good student who normally comes in the top, who normally tops the school. And one of the options says that Ajay is the topper of the school, and the other one says that Ajay is one of the toppers of the school. Now, when you look at the options, both of them sound to be correct, but only one of them is correct. And the answer would be that, okay, he normally comes at the top, but sometimes essentially he might not come. So once you figure out that these are the 2 options, and once you try to identify what is the difference between both the options, you will be able to figure out with more accuracy what option is correct and which option is wrong. This was a trick that was actually told by Sayali in the verbal revision video. So I would definitely recommend you to check it out.
The questions is, how do you stay focused during the exam? Rajat, basically you have to carry yourself through that 2 hours. Those are the only 2 hours that matter, right? Like just think of it that at the end of that 2 hours, you will have your free time back. You will have all the time in the world to do everything else. But you have to perform in those 2 hours as such. So just stay focused for those 2 hours and then you can chill off. Okay. So you want to add something?
No. That's it, guys. We'll again meet you on the other side of cat.
Okay.
Best of luck to everyone. Just keep your calm. Be prepared and be confident in your hard work. Okay.
Just back yourself up. Believe that if you have worked hard till now, that it will bear fruit. A lot of second guessing or guessing whether you have understood the RC or whether you can actually solve it, that is counterproductive. Back yourself up. You will be able to answer. Okay. Bye, guys.